My name is Siddhartha Tiwari, and I help produce a movie called The Lost Heroes. And you are listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
My name is Abhay Dandekar, and I share conversations with talented and interesting individuals linked to the global Indian and South Asian community. It's informal and informative, adding insights to our evolving cultural expressions, where each person can proudly say, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." So every so often on Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing, we share a spotlight and feature brief chats with an individual from the community about a unique topic or cause. For this spotlight, I wanted to focus on the development of a local sports culture at the grassroots level. Siddhartha Tiwari is an IT and engineering professional in India who works with startups to build their market and sales, but is someone who grew up loving sports and in a tier 2 or mid-sized city, he found that while most children and youth are engaged in sports, there's little to accelerate enthusiasm and validity for those who are building a culture of sporting recreation or showcase the development of rich local talent in mid-sized cities and villages in the world's most populated country. For a parallel, imagine if Michael Jordan in Wilmington, North Carolina never had a chance to blossom and no one ever knew about it. So Siddhartha wanted to highlight this gap by presenting the talent, the issues, and the determination of an emerging sports culture in Mathura, a mid-sized city in Uttar Pradesh. He partnered with director Abhishek Sachidanandan to make a short documentary called The Lost Heroes, and through the help of social media and community-based sports channels, is amplifying local sports stories. Now, with his entrepreneurial and brand-building business background, Siddharth is hoping that films like this are making more of a case for why community members and government officials and business developers and sponsors and media should be paying close attention and truly asking more elevating and critical questions about the benefits of developing local sports culture. Why is talent cultivation through sports culture so important for a city like Mathura?
So, as you know, India is like 1.4 billion right now.
Yeah.
Right. And how many Olympic medals or international medals we have? Nothing. I think apart from Neeraj Chopra, we haven't seen so much of enough international recognition in sports. And the number one reason that it is not happening, we are not getting enough medals or enough recognition internationally, is the simple reason that we are not a sports culture. We don't have that society which supports sports a lot. In tier 2 cities or smaller cities or villages, there is a lot of talent, a lot of hardworking people, because a lot of the best athletes that you see from India are coming from these areas only. I mean, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, these are big cities, great infrastructure, everything, but the main talent is coming from these small cities. And just because we are not focusing there, we are not getting the best of the talents across international podium. So that's why we need to focus on these smaller cities and villages. If we make good infrastructure, good career guidance for them, we can definitely see more.
Almost like a pipeline development in that way. I want to ask you, in thinking about this very deeply and also in making the film, how do you think this cultivation or even this importance translates to the non-athletes, right? So the parents, the families, the businesses, the schools.
Right.
You know, when you think about sports culture, it's of course, you know, it's a domino effect. And,
right.
And how do you think that the importance of cultivating that pipeline in some ways will be important now for all these other non-athletes?
Right. So that was the purpose, basically, to reach out to non-athletes, to reach out to the parents, to the government bodies, because you know what happens sometimes. Let's say I'm playing a sport, I'm very good at it, but my parents don't know like what am I doing. I mean, they are like, okay, he's kicking the ball, very good for him, he's happy, but they don't know how much of hard work I'm putting and how good I am at that. So, and that's why, you know, parents or the society, they don't, you know, support their children or their sons or daughters. And that's why it is important to showcase them, like what exactly your son, your daughter is doing in the field. And when they see, okay, it's really hard work, it's really good. And what's the medium? because parents can leave their job and come to see their son and daughter at the field. It's not like America,
Yeah,
where I see a lot of parents go and support their kids in the
sure.
ground. That's very great culture there. So how can we show them? We can show them only via social media or movies or these platforms.
Yeah,
And that's how, when they see this, parents see this, they feel proud, they feel happy about their kids. And similarly, the other athletes, the other non-athletes, and the
yeah,
government body, they see, okay, there's something is happening.
yeah,
These kids are doing something. They have a proof, and now they can translate that into something bigger. They can create bigger, better opportunities, better programs, plannings, and that's how basically it's going to get better. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow.
maybe tomorrow. Well, hopefully tomorrow. No, but
Hopefully.
do you think that there is a barrier for parents, commercial developers, even government stakeholders to translate sports success to societal success, right? Because maybe the perception is that if you devote way too much time to sports, that you're not going to be successful, or that's not going
Right.
to generate success, whether that's financial success or cultural success, that have been in some of these other areas.
Right. I think that's a very good point, and it is the it's definitely there's definitely a barrier that I see. I can't put a finger on it and say what exactly it is, but
Yeah,
it's there. And I'm not saying government is not doing anything. I think in the last few years I've seen great changes in the approach for Indian athletes. I'm not saying it's the best, but there is some movement, and it's really
sure.
good. But I'll give you a insight over the last 4 decades, like, of
Yeah,
sports industry in India, what happened. So in 90s, India had a huge following in cricket,
yeah,
because in 1983 India had won World Cup. They were superheroes, the story was amazing, and all Indians were cheering for cricket, and it was widely known.
sure.
From 2000 to 2010, there was a little shift to other sports, athletic events, thanks to the likes of Karna Maleshwari,
Yeah.
and then Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore. And that's how there was a little shift in those areas now. And then the major shifts come,
Mm,
and that is because of IPL. So
yeah,
IPL, I think Indian Premier League is one of the best thing that has happened to the sports fraternity in India, because that is something, that event shows, that IP shows that how commercialization of a sport, how branding of sport can change so many lives and can bring so much of success. So from 2010 to 2020, we see multiple IPs in sports coming up. Like after IPL, there is Pro Kabaddi League, there is TT
yeah,
League, there is Kho League recently, and now recently we have Handball League. So you see, we this is already happening in West. In US,
yeah,
it's very normal, right? It's
yeah.
happening every day.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN has 12 different channels for anything you could possibly want. And by the way, so as the sports have diversified, right? Not
Right.
just cricket, but you see handball and kabaddi and field hockey and right. So you have a much bigger diversity in sport. Has that also translated to more media coverage in this as
Absolutely.
well? Yeah.
Absolutely, like a lot of media is coming into it now. They are focusing a lot of sports stories, unique
Mm,
stories, very strong stories. I would like to mention this media, The Bridge. So the Bridge, what The Bridge is doing is focusing specifically on unique sports or different sports which is not getting a lot of coverage. The Bridge is a startup. I think they barely start like 4 5 years ago,
mm,
and they are covering a lot of inspirational story in different sports. And we want more such media
yeah.
outlets to be there to showcase such stories. That's how we are going to make a change. So
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I loved about the documentary was the idea that it's a grassroots movement, right? So, especially
yes.
in tier two cities where there is such a dramatic community
Right.
development possibility and potential, I'm curious about one thing, developers and commercial sponsors, they certainly must see opportunities in tier two cities as well. and yet it's a struggle, right? So,
Right.
what's the strategy then to concentrate
Exactly.
on these tier two cities? How do you get and attract more sponsors commercially and more developers to tier two cities like Mathura?
At the end of the day, businesses are like wherever they get more profit from, right?
Yeah,
They are not going
right.
to put their money in sport, let's say Coco, and
Yeah,
they're expecting a lot of returns out of it, because that's not going to happen. I mean, I don't have a proper solution to it. What I can tell, if every tier 2 tier 3 cities, if they have some sort of social media platform, which I'm seeing every day, the new social media channel is coming in sports. If there are more such channels coming across social media and they are promoting sports, they can tie up with local businesses and show the data. Look,
yeah.
we have like 100,000 followers, and these many people follow the sports, these many engagement is there. They can reach out to the local brands, and they can say, let's tie up, let's
Mm.
see what we can do here, let's support each other, and let's make a difference.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more collaboration, a little bit more networking, so that there
Exactly.
can be some great connections between at least connections at the grassroots level to some of
Right.
these commercial entities. What did you personally learn, maybe about yourself, or for that matter, even about the athletes who are at the point where they are certainly emerging in making this short documentary? What did you personally learn, and what were some of the lessons that you really took away in finding how to actually tell this story?
First of all, I would, before telling this answer, I would like to give entire credit to Abhishek
Yeah,
Sachidanandan, who is the director
the
of this
director.
movie.
Yeah.
I just stumbled across his movie, Nomads in Ladakh, which is on YouTube, and I
Mm.
found his work really, really great. And
Yeah.
now I have something like, okay, I have a problem to solve in sports, and how can I solve it in a quicker way? I
Yeah.
think movies is something which I loved from the beginning, and
Yeah.
this guy is making such impactful movie. He's not getting a lot of attention, so let's talk to him. Let's see if he's interested. And I talked to him. He's like, oh yeah, I also wanted to make something on sports. He's working
Yeah.
on different concepts, different social topics in India. And at that time, he said, okay, yeah, let's do it. He was up for it. I came across so many inspirational stories across Mathura. So I think Mathura has population of 21 lakh, so it's around
Yeah.
2.1 million.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are so many inspiring stories just for the society. And as a society, Indian society, the middle class society here around, sometimes I don't see they don't support each other a lot.
Yeah.
And it's good that it happened over the movie, that they get to see their coaches, their athletes.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys are working very hard and they have made a difference. It's not visible to them, but when they see it in the movie in
Yeah.
such a beautiful way depicted by Abhishek, then they see, oh, they have done something great. Like there is
Right.
a story of volleyball coach who had cancer 2 times and he
Yeah.
recovered from it. It's not less than Yuvraj Singh's story of cancer and coming back and playing for India. I mean, it's almost same. It's just the media coverage is not
Yeah.
ample for these cities, and that's what I learned. That initially it was my hunch that we need to maybe focus on tier 2 tier 3 cities. Now it's confirmed
It's
that
confirmed.
yes, we
Yeah.
have to focus on in the villages. We have to make better infrastructure, support them, give them great incentives, and also raise awareness to the families and the societies.
Yeah, so inspiring and so much work that still needs to be done. Let's imagine about 5 years from now that there is a child who is just starting out on the cusp of exploring more sports.
Right.
You know, what do you hope to what do you hope to say to that child and that family and that village or community who is really now recognizing a new talent in sports? 5 years from now, what do you hope the conversation will look like and feel like?
I think it will be much more professional. People will be having more background about sports now. It's happening, like it's moving a little bit. Earlier, people used to resist a lot for if a kid or if a young talent goes and do something in sports. There was a lot of resistance, not just society but from parents and parents as well. And I think that's a crucial problem here, because if your close one, your parents and your friends are not supporting, then that athletes just loses everything. So important thing is we need to get more support from parents, and 5 years down the line, I think it will be a good conversation. If they want to make a career in let's say swimming, it will be much more easier. Or let's say because you see there is a story going on, our Madhvan's kid is doing fantastic in
Yeah.
international arena in swimming. So that's a one story which can spark a lot of inspiring stories in swimming. So similarly, 5 years down the line, I hope there are enough stories for the kids and the parents to see, no, these guys
Yeah.
are going on a right track. In the West, we have seen for last 100 years, we have seen so many inspiring stories coming out. That same has to happen in India.
I want to ask you sort of a follow up to that, and that is that when I think about the athletes, there's a very, very small probability and chance that a athlete who is playing sports from a young age actually makes it into a successful professional career in that sport. So, and yet the culture is designed in such a way that we can see the advantages of athletics, and especially team athletics, even individual athletics, contribute to the education and the self-esteem and what happens to a child and a young adult and even anybody. That sports builds community. It's actually so important, in fact, to develop, even if that child doesn't ever go into a athletic career. So have you started seeing that, even though for those athletes who may have great talent but don't end up in a professional sense, that it still benefits them in other aspects of society and life? And how have you been able to message that for families and for teachers and for other community members?
Yes, like you must have seen in the movie, Coach Dalveer Singh, he says sports is not just necessary for being an athlete, it's also good for recreation and also setting a life standard for yourself, setting
Mm.
a great personality for yourself and for the society. Like you're very strong.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in the field, it's a loss or win. You go and play, you continue, and that's how life is. There are a lot of
Yeah.
failures, there are a lot of things to learn, and you make a better life. You make a good motivation for others as well. So that's definitely sport has done, and that has been done on myself as well. Like I never made to professional sports, and I don't think I had talent and dedication like these athletes, but it has taught me so many things, and it has made me fit. It has made me mentally fit as well, trying to feel about others, trying to connect with others and try to solve their problems. So but sports is important for your physical and mental well-being.
It's a life of improvement and a life of
Exactly.
resiliency, and really so pleased to see this kind of activity, and I hope it continues and I hope it gets realized. Siddharth, thank you so much for joining us. What a really nice conversation, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, Abhay. And before closing, I think I would like to thank Abhishek Sachidanandan for his work. He's the one who captured everything and created a beautiful and impactful story. Yeah, it's for him as well. He should
Yeah.
also get a good highlight.
Thanks again, and congratulations on the film. Please check out The Lost Heroes, about sports in Mathura, on YouTube. And again, whether it's badminton or lagori or kho or football, the foundation of love for sports and games starts locally. Till next time, I'm Abhay Dandekar. Kabaddi, 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 kabaddi.